Protect your DNA. BioPQQ can promote formation of new mitochondria. Infowarsstore.com.
Well, let's talk about the rampant hypocrisy when it comes to this climate change agenda. Right now, we've got some old guard Republicans. They're pushing for carbon tax at a White House meeting today. And when you see a lot of these bankers and Treasury secretaries pushing for this carbon tax, you know it has nothing to do with saving the environment. It has everything to do with pushing the tax upon you and I, the little guy, while saving these corporations from the massive amount of money. And they're pushing this as, you know, there's something we need to do because climate change is real and it's a massive threat and we've got to do something about it immediately. Oh, you know, aside from actually fix the environment. Owen Schroyer is joining me now. And one of the things I wanted to point out with this was how they are going to really try and make this attractive to the poor, to the little guy, because this blueprint involves a $40 tax on every metric ton of carbon dioxide that's going to be released by burning fossil fuels. So the price of your energy bills are going to be climbing over time. So what they're going to do to avoid an undue burden on the poor from these higher energy bills is they're going to use some of the money in the annual revenue from this carbon tax. They're going to redistribute it to households in the form of quarterly checks from Social Security. So this is going to make poor people go, oh, that's great. Yeah, levy that carbon tax on us. I'll take an extra $2,000 a year just to give a little payback because my energy bills are going to be so high. Meanwhile, you and I are going to be saddled with these massive energy bills. And we know U.S. companies are going to be able to get liability protections. So this is all about pushing away the regulations that are actually going to help the environment while levying a massive tax on the people for breathing.
That's the key here because the people that are pushing this are the ones who fly around in their big jets,
Leonardo DiCaprio.
adding the most to it, if you believe in that. Mm-hmm. But what they're doing here is they're creating a war. It's really an economic war by the elite. They're misinforming the poor people and then using the poor people to hate the middle class. Mm-hmm. So then now you've got the elite fighting to kill the middle class and the poor fighting to kill the middle class.
Right.
And what they do is, and here's the amazing thing to me, because they use the climate change thing to push for these carbon taxes. New data comes out that refutes global warming charges. Mm-hmm. Okay, but you know what? Then people put out data that say the earth is getting hotter. You know what? I don't know what data to trust, okay? I'm not going to accept policy when we've got data coming from all of these ends, and then you're going to try to implement a policy that's going to affect the future of this world. No, at the very least, we need to say, you know what? We simply don't know.
If they really truly care about fixing the environment, because I do care about the environment, I care about the earth, this is where we live, we need to take care of this space. If they really cared about it, they would just release free energy. They wouldn't put out, these solar farms and things like that. And then when they work too well, when we have cars that are solar powered and stuff, it works too well so that they're not getting enough revenue from selling gasoline and all that. So then they start taxing people, and you notice how they really kind of push down that whole green energy push because it was too effective. And they were like, whoa, we're not making our billions of dollars. We need to pull back on that. That's when I knew it was a bunch of crap. And then, you have Leonardo DiCaprio riding around on his private jet, which emits the carbon footprint of a small country. He took his private jet to go pick up an environmental award. So total hypocrite saying, this is just, it's dire, it's extreme, we've got to do something about it immediately, and then back on his private jet. Also, too, we have a lot of these protesters who were out protesting the Dakota Access Pipeline. They were in this huge uproar because this pipeline could burst and it would contaminate the water there. It was on sacred grounds, allegedly. Well, so how do they treat that sacred ground? Well, they leave heaps of garbage behind after they're done with their little Coachella Burning Man up there at the Dakota Access Pipeline. Massive amounts of trash that is frozen in the snow. So they're having to really haul this heavy equipment to try to remove all of this trash that's been left behind before the thaw, because guess what? It's going to turn toxic. So this is how much these hypocrites actually care about this sacred land that belongs to the indigenous people and contaminating the water there for all of us. This is what they left behind. So this is just the abject hypocrisy where people like you and I can't take it seriously. And we're like, I don't want to be taxed on it. You clearly don't care that much. It's clearly not that dire.
Insert Pepe face now. This is the same type of littering we saw after the Women's March. And I remember filing a report on it on the Alex Jones channel on YouTube, being like, this is strange. I didn't see this much trash after Trump's inauguration and all the balls and all the galas. But every time Antifa does a protest, every time the George Soros protesters march, now the Dakota pipeline protesters, they leave heaps of trash. Those images were actually incredible. That's more than just a trash can overflowing. We're talking about fields and just heaps of trash.
Right. Well, and to call out all these people, to have thousands of people coming there, staying there for months. And
look at that. That's ridiculous.
Really trying to point your finger at the rest of the country. And
I mean, my God.
How dare we? You know, this is sacred ground. You're going to contaminate the water. And then they leave all this toxic crap behind. Now, the people did say that they're going to use a lot of those donations to pay for that cleanup. But still, it's like, clean up your freaking trash, people. Man, nothing makes me more angry than
you know what?
litterers.
It's just the irony that they're protesting to protect the environment while they're you know, poisoning the environment by their own standards. So that's the irony we point out. Now, I want to get into this because this is kind of sweeping the nation right now, Leanne. I got an email today. This was forwarded to me from the president of Emerson College. I quote, they're talking about becoming a sanctuary city and how they're going to refuse to release information regarding the immigration status of their students and workers and refuse to comply with immigration authorities regarding deportation or raids, including physical access to all land owned or controlled by the college. So now, it used to be the rich were above the law. Now liberals are above the law. But now they're just basically admitting that they're housing illegal people.
Right, and it's not even these sanctuary campuses. It's not even about just housing the students, but it's also saying bring your family here. Your family will also be safe. So this is like people who are not even students on campus. Because I can understand, you know, I went to the University of Texas. There were a ton of undocumented students at UT. It was kind of a sanctuary campus at that time. That, you know, that's kind of a blurry gray area. But here they're actually saying, bring your family, bring your friends. If they're in fear of being deported, this is going to be a safe campus, which is crazy because there's such a political agenda behind all of this that the media is actually going so far that they're not even identifying the crime that's being committed by people who are here illegally because they just want to push through these sanctuary policies.
Well, and here's the thing that I don't understand. This comes from the Emerson student publication. They say that they're going to publicly declare themselves a sanctuary campus to assist undocumented students. So you're admitting, you're aiding and abetting people that are breaking the law. That's illegal. And then I don't understand this. How do you have an undocumented student? Don't you have student numbers? Don't you have to file? There's a process. I had to go through a process. I had to get a vaccine. So I don't understand how you have an undocumented student. But this is being pushed for in Ivy Leagues. Thousands of students, professors at all of these Ivy Leagues are pushing for it too. But it's funny because when Obama talked about similar policies, they never protested that. They never pushed for sanctuary cities then. And, you know, here's another one. Some University of Cincinnati students and faculty want the administration to make UC a sanctuary campus, joining the city in defying President Trump's targeted travel ban. Well, what happened when you defied Barack Obama's Obamacare? You remember that? You got fined. So what, are there going to be fines for these campuses?
Well, that's
you
what
need to
Donald
cut
Trump
the federal
is saying.
funding.
That's what he's saying. He wants to cut the federal funds for these schools as well as for the cities around here. I know here in Austin specifically, they're fighting to fight against the federal laws there to become a sanctuary city, so much so that they don't identify people who are here illegally, who have committed crimes. They don't even add that into their reporting because they don't want to sway the public's opinion on making Austin a sanctuary city. It's so dangerous. This is how far gone they are, that they will do whatever is possible, including endangering you and your family. There's a story on Drudge Report that hundreds of immigrants convicted and not deported go on to commit even more crimes, even murder, which is exactly the case of this man who was arrested for sexually assaulting a Texas mother in front of her child at knife point, and they didn't identify him as someone who was here illegally, as well as someone who had already been deported previously following a homicide conviction.
And if you're a sanctuary anything, aiding and abetting these criminals, you need to be held accountable and you need to be punished. That's how we can start to fix some of these issues. But you're going to see some of these schools, Bellarmine University, Wayne State University, Notre Dame, saying, well, we're not going to take the sanctuary label. Well, they're playing it out of both sides of the mouth because they're saying, we're already a sanctuary school. We don't want to put the label on it. And then Trump's going to look at us with a magnifying glass and find out, well, maybe we are breaking the law. But you know what? Go ahead, house whatever illegals you want. Just don't take government money anymore. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and that it's pretty surprising, but a lot of schools are willing to do that. Hope your students appreciate it. Well, thank you all so much for tuning in to the show tonight. We will see you here again tomorrow, 7 p.m. Central.
In case you haven't heard, Infowars has become the most influential media outlet in America. We're making freedom go viral. And now we are proud to announce a new weapon in the epic battle against the globalists. Infowars Prime, where you can watch live high-definition feeds of The Alex Jones Show, plus exclusive insider videos from the Infowars crew and behind-the-scenes action. Go to Infowars.com/app and download today. Infowars Prime is available right now for your iPhone or Android. You will have access to exclusive videos that you can't see anywhere else. And that means live coverage of events and breaking news on location as it happens. You can also take advantage of amazing deals from the Infowars store that are only available for Infowars Prime subscribers. That's Infowars Prime at Infowars.com/app. And if you can hear my voice, you are the resistance.